Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
This portion of What's the LGBT is brought to you in part by Rosie's Cleaning Services. Rosie's Cleaning Services is your one-stop shop for all of your housekeeping and janitorial needs. Specializing in commercial, residential, move-in and move-out cleaning, B&B preparation, and more. Rosie's Cleaning Services is ready to tackle any job, big or small. They send 3 technicians per service and bill at a flat hourly rate. With a combined experience of over 20 years, Rosie's Cleaning Services is your only choice for professional, efficient, and superior cleaning services. To learn more, please text or call 702-767-1116 or email contact@rosiescleaninglv.com.
All the stars are right here.
This is Beyonce.
Yo, what's going on, man? This is Drizzy Drake.
It's the DJ Khaled Dawn.
You're tuned in to Risky Radio.
This is Norman J. Liverpool IV from What's the LGBT, and you're tuned into Hot 702.5 in FM Sound. Be sure to catch us every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Greetings, and yet again, greetings. You already know who it is, but in case you forgot, I don't mind giving you a slight reminder. It's your gay best friend, your good Judy, your next door neighbor, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, your gunkle, author, radio show host, all of the things. It is Norman J. Liverpool IV, and you are here tuned in for another edition of What's the LGBT right here on Hot 702.5 in FM Sound. So if you all knew how excited I was for today's guest, this has probably been something in the making, probably since May or June. But we are so excited, so we're going to go through some housekeeping stuff, and then we're going to get right into this piping hot tea. So we want to thank our first sponsor, which is Cameron Consulting, LLC. 3 out of 4 Americans carry some sort of debt, the same amount that struggles with at least one aspect of financial stability. Whether that's budgeting, automating your banking, or credit building the right way, at Cameron Cromwell Consulting, LLC, you will be provided the tools and education to do all 3. You can visit their website at CameronCromwellConsultingLLC.com or email Cameron at CameronCromwellConsultingLLC.com. My next sponsor, you already know, she's like a lifelong sponsor, and we love her. Shout out to Ponita's Kitchen. Listen, I could read this script, but I'm just going to tell you her food is the bomb. She offers fixed menus every week, or you can do custom, and she delivers. That's the number one thing. So if you want some food that reminds you of being back at grandma's house, I'm talking about good old Southern soul food, make sure you give Ponita a shout. You can follow her on Instagram and Facebook at Ponita's Kitchen, or you can reach out to them at 702-480-8558. And just so you know, she was voted the best choice of 2022 food kitchens. So just let her know that I sent you. And then lastly, because this is Pride Weekend here in Las Vegas and I am an author, I wanted to shout out a couple books that I think that you should be reading, or some authors that you should check out. So the first one is 7 Ways to Disappear. This is by Andre Wade. It's a really short read, but very impactful. So make sure to check this out. 7 Ways to Disappear, the book within the book. Also, I want you to check out Loving Me Free. If you recall, we had Coach Albie on a couple of weeks ago, and this is his journey in learning to live authentically by Albie Harris Downing, Loving Me Free. This is definitely one that you want to pick up. And then lastly, my book, okay? Over the Top Living, Walking in Next Level Confidence Every Damn Day. You want to get this. So support our LGBT authors. All 3 of these books are available on Amazon. So go over there and do what it do. And my book has been reduced pricing for the rest of this month. So it's a little discount there if you go on and do that. So y'all, buckle up, okay? Got your tea kettles ready? So I have Tasha Keys with me, who is AKA the Miss Love Doctor. She is a relationship and life coach, a postpartum doula, which we're going to figure more about what that actually is and what that looks like. And she's all about restoring all things love and healing your heart to love again. She is also a show host here at Hot 702.5 every Wednesday for her show, Let's Talk Love. So without further ado, please welcome Miss Love Doctor.
Hello. How is everybody out there in love land?
Yes, I love it. Girl, we have been wanting to do this for so long, and I'm so
happy.
Yeah, that it finally aligned so that we could have this conversation and talk about love. And I think we all need a little bit more love and to understand how our self-love contributes to our other outside relationships.
Right.
So, girl, who are you? Tell us a little bit about you.
So, I've been thinking about this question, and I know it's just my nerves, but I was like, okay, who am I? In reality, I'm really a down-to-earth, girly-ass, tomboy chick from the Midwest.
Got it.
You know, genuine lover of love, always for the underdog. I want to see everybody win. I love hard. I love real hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm passionate about a lot of things. And I just want to see everybody up, you know? I don't know.
Where from the Midwest are you?
I'm originally from Chicago. And then I also lived in Minnesota.
Did we talk about this?
Probably.
Because I'm from Chicago, too.
Oh, so no, we didn't talk about it. Okay.
Where did you live in Chicago?
South Side.
Okay,
Yeah.
South Side worldwide.
Yeah, Wild Hunters girl.
Oh, Wild Hunters. Okay. So that's like 130 something in Halsted.
Come back. We lower hundreds.
Oh, low. Okay, in the
They
low
call
end.
us like bougie. You know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, in the low end. Okay. So I grew up primarily on the west side, western burbs, and then we moved to the south side. My grandmother had a property in Bronzeville on 43rd and King.
Okay.
But I lived all over. You know, people from Chicago, we move all over the city.
And always have a nice house.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. No matter where you go. And it doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside. Once you come through the threshold, it's like something completely different.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about your relationship and life coaching. What is your why? Like, why did you get into all of that?
The short version is I was the why, right?
Okay.
I had to put myself through exactly what I'm trying to implement to the world. But in reality, like in college, they tell you you have to have a population, you have to have a problem, and you have to have a solution. So, of course, I'm wrecking my brain. I've always manifested and coined myself Ms. Love Doctor. It was just funny. You know, like I would give people advice like, make sure you tip the Love Doctor, you know, never thinking that this was really going to be my mission in life. But I thought, okay, well, maybe when I graduate, I'll help helpers. Helpers, basically, who I feel need the help to help other people because they take all their work home. So police, firefighters, judges, lawyers, teachers. I wanted to, okay, I'll help that population so then they can help everybody else. But then my spirit was like, no, like the people like me need help every single day. So then they won't have to have interactions with the police, the lawyers, and the judges. So I couldn't narrow it down.
Gotcha.
And I manifested, I prayed. I'm like, what is it that people need? What is it that people need? And I'm like, love. Everybody, no matter animals. You see little monkeys, they take good care of each other. They have like a family in the village and all the way down to ants. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, that's an essential need for every last one of us, no matter what walk of life you're from.
Right.
So I can help and impact people all around the world.
And what speaks to me is I will definitely never claim to be a relationship coach. I feel like I'm not the one to do that. But in my space, I do coach people to live authentically and to decide who they are as people, how they can create authentic impact. And it sounds like that's what you've done. Like you did the work. You said, okay, this is where I see the need, and you created something that was authentic to you.
It flowed. Like, once I figured out what it was a no-brainer. Like, it literally flowed. Like, I have so many ideas of how to heal each other. Like, I look at some people talk sometime, and I just think, like, this baby is so damaged. If she could just see the beauty in her. You know, like if we can see it, but I understand that society has created a super wound in all of us. So what we got to do is basically like we got to heal that thing up. It's not going to heal over time, but I always think about like a really bad cut, right? You get that bad cut, it hurts so bad. It's open, you babying it and you cleaning it and you making sure it's good. But over time, when you look back, you're like, damn, that cut was really bad. It hurt it. You remember it, but you've healed from it. And we have a lot of unhealed people.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I'm the love doctor, what's the best prescription to give?
Right. So I recently found something on Facebook. Are you doing some sort of challenge or some sort of group or something going on? Talk to us about that.
Falling in Love, October is a self-love challenge that I'm doing, and I actually need to post today because I'm just posting at the week, and you just follow the prompts each day, and it's just something to instill in something in yourself, because you have mothers, fathers, you got all these titles, but what are you doing for yourself? Even if you do this one little thing and it pours a little back into your cup, it's enough for me, you know, because I know I can't fill your cup all at once. Well, I could, but but you get what I'm saying. So just something for us to genuinely start to look at the fact that maybe I do need to have a little bit of self-care, self-love, self-evaluations, and all these things so that I can be better for other people.
Right. So, you know, like we said, it's Pride Month. So,
Yes.
and our Pride weekend here specifically in Las Vegas. And so we're talking about love. So let's get into your love life, honey. That's what I want to do. So what you got going on cooking in your love life?
I'm right now, I really am working on myself. I'm under construction. I was really closed off to dating. I thought everybody was full of shit. But now I'm like this, you know, like I'm looking, I'm kind of like putting the guard down a little bit more, because I am very protective of myself. It's my heart. I got to protect it. Nobody else is going to treat it like me. So I have to make sure that if I was to give it to somebody, like they genuinely have the same authentic feeling from my heart that I have for myself. Like, you're going to treat it the same way I'm going to treat it, and I'm going to treat yours the same way. So, I mean, you know, I heard something about this new little orange moon, that there is some new love on the horizon.
Oh, so what would that look like? Because, you know, I'm going to be nosy. Are you part of our community? Are you an ally? What's the tea, girl?
Okay, so the tea is just kind of lukewarm.
Okay.
I don't like titles. I just said that. So when people ask me, like, are you a part? I was like, I'm not. I do like what I like, you know, and there's really no discrimination. Women are beautiful, you know that. So I don't know if that calls me an ally.
Hey, well, you're you. And I love it. So you read between the lines, y'all. You heard what she said. She said, so, okay. So
I like who, you know, like, that's the thing about love. You know what I'm saying? So you can't tell me what it looks like. That's why when people be like, well, you have to be straight. If love is real and love is authentic, who are you to say that that's not what's for you? Then I want what's for me. That's it.
Okay. So what about the whole concept, other than just like obviously wanting to help people, wanting to connect people with themselves and self-love, what was it that really drew you in when you finally said, okay, this is who I am. This is not just something that I do. This is really who I am.
I think that once I started to understand what my purpose in life is, it started to flow pretty naturally. And I started to realize, like, I really can impact people with the power of love, because it's what everybody needs. So I started doing small things like hosting an event called Let's Talk Love, but it's with men or with women. So the very first one I did was with all men. I probably had about 7 or 8 guys there, and it was just them and I having a conversation. And once I got the feedback, the answers was amazing, of course, but the feedback is what empowered me to say, okay, I might be onto something, and I probably need to continue with this mission in life, and I probably need to make it bigger than smaller, because there's a lot of people who are lacking love. People aren't taught to love as kids, which we should be. So you got to think, like, you got a lot of adults walking around here and know nothing about love.
And I think, too, some of that, at least in my experience, a lot of that is passed down generationally.
Absolutely.
Like, I know, for example, my grandmother, I remember not ever hearing her say the words "I love you" up until probably I was like 15.
Okay.
Or, I was older. And I remember making it a point to always tell her that. And it would make her so uncomfortable. Like, you would see, like, I love you. You know what I mean? And I feel like that trickles down. Like, the same thing with my dad and, her other children. That was something that they didn't do. And then you take the best that you can, and it kind of trickles down. But let's speak on that, though.
But let's stay right there.
Yeah, that's what I was
because
gonna say,
that is the thing for me, is breaking that generational curse. So as far as, I have a presentation called Flower Power, and it's empowering young girls to learn about their vagina. Let's just be clear, because everything isn't taught. And what do you hear? Like, well, my mom, you talk to the mom, well, my mom didn't know, and my mom didn't teach me because my mom didn't teach me. Okay, so at this point, we have to have someone who teaches us these things. And without judgment. You know, because it's things that you need to know. I talk to grown women to this day, do not know how to properly clean their vagina.
Right. And it goes just back to that education and that exposure thing. I was watching, it must have been Law and Order. That seems like all I've been watching this week. But I was watching something recently, and one of the characters in the show, she said, I had to learn how to put on the tampon and all of that on TV.
Yeah.
And
horrible.
Yeah, and then
horrible.
No one could, and I'm like, that to me, now as a dude, I don't necessarily understand, but that is a very intimate thing that it seems like should be taught.
It's terrible. But, you got to understand, like, I understand how life is, and I understand what life was. So it's like, what are we going to do different?
Right,
you know? So everybody, don't be wearing them tampons either.
Okay.
Cut them out.
Did you hear what she said? Okay, I can't.
Cut them out completely.
Okay, we're going to have a special episode on that, loving the V, honey, because I don't know nothing about it.
Maybe that's what we should talk about.
Yeah, I love it. So when we're talking about love, how do we differentiate, Miss Love Doctor, how do we differentiate love versus what some would consider lust, or maybe just like a mutual attraction? How do we know the difference?
I think people need to be honest with themselves. We know that lust is like a powerful attraction that happens down in the bottom of your pants, not necessarily in your heart or in your head. When you genuinely care about somebody, you want to see the best things happen for them. You want to make sure that their life is complete in different ways. You just don't want to just take them down and knock their drawers down. You know what I'm saying? Because everything can be lustful. We could lust over food. We could lust over anything. But do you truly love this food? You know what I mean? You love your children. You love your spouse. You love your, you know when you love something. So at the end of the day is if you know yourself, for one, and love yourself, you know exactly what love will look like for you. Because then we won't keep getting ourselves in these different type of situations where we're confusing love with lust. Just because somebody fuck you real good don't mean they love you.
Right. No, that's true. And I think, and this has been like a recurring theme over the last maybe 3 or 4 shows that I've had, is being able to have the difficult conversations with ourselves.
Yes.
Because I found, and I'll just be honest, for me, I was portraying something that I thought what I should be portraying.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, if you know a little bit about me, I've been married several times, and part of that was because when gay people could not get married, it was something that I attained to. And I also aspired to, and I saw how much it meant to my mom, right? Like how much that, and so I was like, oh, I want to be married. I want to be in this committed relationship, and I want to do that. And then I ended up spending a majority of my 20s in these fucked up situations. And it's not that the people were fucked up, but I put myself in these weird, awkward situations because I was not honest with myself.
Right.
If I had been honest with myself, no, that's not really what I want. And we talk about the why. I didn't want that. But for some reason, I just felt like that has to be what you portray, that has to be what you want. And then you look back and
This is what they say, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're just like a hamster in a wheel. You're just spinning your wheels for 10 years. And so that's why I really love how you talk about, the self-love. Because we have to love ourselves first and understand that. So, girl, I feel like this is going to need to be like a 5-part series. So for those of you that are just tuning in, we are here on What's the LGBT with Miss Love Doctor. We are talking everything love, honey. She is a relationship and life coach. And so can you tell us a little bit about what you do as a postpartum doula. What is that?
Oh my God, that's my baby. That's my little baby project. Because I'm all about self-care. I am very passionate about helping women and families, because I don't want to ever exclude the other parent, and it is to help the children in the house as well. But it's predominantly, let's just be clear, the women give birth. The person who gives birth to the earth, like every last one of us has passed through a woman, and the care that they need after the child is critical. And it's my passion to come in and make sure we create a healthy, healing environment for them. And that's at their home, or if they need to be relieved from their home. The house could be chaotic, right? So, but it's really for you to have that downtime, that healing time. You don't need to come home and necessarily worry about the small things. Let us provide the village, because it takes a village to raise a child. And sometimes people don't have a village. And like I said, we got to break those generational curses. So we may have young teen moms that know absolutely nothing about being a parent.
Right.
Like they say, there is no book. So in my mind, I'm like, what can I do to end this problem? Okay, well, let's create a parenting plan. Let's teach these mothers and fathers how to plan out your child's future. You don't have to do it all willy-nilly and just, take what life gives you, because life gonna throw you some bullshit anyway.
Right.
So at least if you have some sort of a plan for your child where you want to see them at in life, and that's something that we weren't taught in our community. So coming in, creating this environment for the mother so she really can heal. You got to think organs got to naturally go back into the right place.
Right.
So you can't just get out there, have this baby, the baby crying, you up, down, you washing dishes, you doing laundry. You should not be doing any of that. You at least need a couple weeks to a couple months of pure healing. So we come in and we provide that village for you guys.
And you are hitting on so many points today. I was recently talking with my mom, and her and my dad were together when I was younger, and they ended up splitting. And so for a lot of my upbringing, it was a single parent household. And I had asked my mom, I said, Mom, did you know that taking a break or these types of things is an act of self-love? And she said, I didn't even know I could.
Right.
She, in her mind, she didn't even know what it was to break or to rest or to pause or to do that, because she didn't know that wasn't even an option.
Right. They think it's just well, I have to be a mom and I have to do this and I have to do that. So even when I talk to my clients, tell me who you are. That's why I was so upset with myself that I couldn't think about who the hell I was.
Right.
But I tell them to tell me who you are. And the first thing they say is, well, I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I'm a... No. Those are titles. Those are things that you do. Who are you? Let's tap into that. Let's figure out who you are so that you do know what self-care even looks like for you. Because I can tell you all day, go to the spa, get a massage, do this, but that's what I like.
Right.
We got to figure out what you like.
Right. And for me, and it's so important. Sometimes to me, self-care is being left alone.
Solitude is very fulfilling.
Right. And so it's important that what you said is to understand what self-care looks like for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I get my nails done every 2 weeks. To me, that is not self-care. That is just what has to happen. That's maintenance. You got to keep these claws together, what they call these grippers. And so for me, self-care is going out to a new restaurant. And when I go out, I'm all about an experience, right? Ooh. And my mom even said that. She's like, you're so bougie and all this stuff. Because, no, I want champagne on the table. I want all the appetizers. I want to feel that experience. And that's self-care to me. And anyone knows that. Self-care to food, be left alone, a good book, some good live music.
Oh, yes.
So really, and to be in touch with what that looks like. Now, how do we even learn what self-care looks like for those of us that might be listening or watching that have lived so long without pausing because they didn't know it was possible?
Yeah.
How do we discover what we even like?
I think you got to turn inward, and you got to want to do the work. You have to want to figure yourself out. Some people don't want to do that work. You know what I mean? Because it is, in fact, work. If we have not ever, let's say if you're 30 years old, nobody's ever said, how do you love yourself? How do you want to be loved? How do you show love? How do you expect your mate to come and treat you? I ask these questions to people who've been married for years. They have no answer for me because they've never sat down and said, wait a minute. How do I want people to treat me? What boundaries should I set? What's important to me? What makes me happy? What brings me peace? What should I not allow? Because there's a lot of things that you allow things to happen, but at the same time, you realize that these things is disrupting your peace and is disrupting your happiness. So doing that work of that really about digging into self, even if you had to get you a book or call me.
Okay, I love it.
Or
love
call
the plug.
me. But after our self-love, I think December, because that's my birthday month, I might make that either the self-care month, and I'll do the same thing where I create prompts where you can literally, and you could do it or not do it, because like I said, it may not be something that you're interested in, or because I'm reading a book. Like somebody be like, I'm not a reader. Okay, well, listen to a book. Listen to a self-care book.
Right. And see, that is why I wrote the book the way I wrote it. Okay. Just so you see, look at, that's one page.
So you can just get through it.
So for someone who doesn't...
Secure your support system, that's key. Mm-hmm. That is key.
And that comes from page 68 in my book. But I wrote this book for people who did not want to read a lot. Like, you can leave this on your coffee table and just turn to a page or two.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, it takes me forever to get through books.
Yeah.
I'm reading one book right now, girl. I'm reading Finding Me by Viola Davis.
Oh.
And I'm halfway through it. But I feel like I've been reading this book since May. Like, I really do. I feel like I've been reading this book because, like, I'll put it down and then, like, I'll forget about it, or I'm not feeling like reading. But it also goes back to being honest and creating that space, because typically I would get up early, go sit on on my patio and read for a little bit, have that time to meditate. But when we don't set up proper boundaries and have that self-care or self-love routine, it makes it easy for something that would normally take this amount of time to stretch it out. Yeah. So now I'm determined. I am determined to finish. Yeah, I'm determined to finish that book.
Oh, we were talking about it last night, and somebody was like, "Well, I work 2 jobs, and it's either eat or sleep or this or that." I said, even if it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes, give it to yourself, because all this working you doing and no care for yourself, you're gonna end up burning out.
Burnt out. No, burnt the fuck out.
And don't know what's wrong with you. Now you snapping on people, and now you all crabby. You like, what's wrong with you? Ain't shit wrong with me. Well, yeah, you're a little wound up.
Well, right, and see, and I can attest to that, because like me and you had a conversation earlier the week, and I shared with you that I had recently left my career of 10 years and to really focus on the things that bring me joy. And looking back at it, I put up with so much stuff, and it was almost a contradiction to what I teach or coach.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because it's like, oh, well, I'm telling people and coaching people to create time, to create space, to create, this environment for themselves. But then I'm over here working 12 and 13-hour days and allowing, people, places, and situations to pull me in a million different directions without centering myself.
Right.
And I think it's really easy to do that, because sometimes it's easy to say, oh, this is what you should do. But it wasn't until I sat back and was like, okay, I'm not doing this. And so I had to take that step. And luckily I have a support system that supported me in that. But I look back, I'm like, you're not doing none of this.
Right.
And so then it came down to I can't continue to work like that and coach.
Because coaching takes a lot of you too.
Yeah, it takes
a toll on you.
It takes a lot out of you mentally, physically.
Yeah.
And emotionally, and especially when you're the type of person like how you and I are, we carry those things. So
big empath.
So for the coaches out there or the consultants that are in that space, it's even more important to make sure that you do exactly what the Love Doctor is saying, making the time, figuring out what you like, having those conversations with yourself, because we're carrying on and we're supporting the vision of so many other people. And I think that sometimes we get lost in that.
Oh, yeah. I was so sad. I was supposed to be in the parade last night and walk with House of Vegas Pride.
House of Vegas.
And I was supposed to be a butterfly. But I was so tired. I had no choice. I literally crashed last night. Yeah. I had to lay down. I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is to me, that's an act of self-care. Because sometimes we will go.
I wanted to, too. I was like, okay, if I just lay down for like 10 minutes.
No, girl.
And that 10 minutes turned into 45 minutes. And then the 45 minutes turned into like an hour and 15 because I had to get up.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have to get up, I probably would have just took the night.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And I, like I shared with you, ever since I had COVID back in May, my body has been completely all out of whack. Things that I used to like to eat or drink, I can't. Things that I never thought I would. And one of the things that I used to feel guilt for resting.
Yeah, I do.
I
I'm
used
bad
to feel
at that.
so guilty because it's like, dang.
Why am I laying down?
Right. You know, especially as an entrepreneur, it's like, okay, I should be sending an invoice or I should be following up with this person.
What should I be doing?
Right.
Or if I do lay down and go to sleep, I can hear a song or something in my head. I'm like, okay, let me hurry up and save this sound so I can make this TikTok and da-da-da-da-da. But then when I get up, I'm like, well, what did I want to say?
Right.
Because it was in my sleep. But I heard it because my brain is still on 1,000.
Yeah. And for me, what helps me with that is I get so many creative ideas in my sleep. I mean, I have built like whole programs that I have just like dreamt about. And luckily, I have notebooks all over my house. So if I wake up and something comes to me, I'm on that notebook.
Right.
Even if it doesn't make sense, like if I'm half asleep and I can't read my handwriting the next day, I just get it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's good though.
Yeah.
Because it'll come back around.
Yeah, it definitely will come back around when it's supposed to. But just that, even if I'm just scribbling, it don't have to make sense, but just for me to get that out so I can come back to it. So one of the things that you were talking about is like doing the work and actually the boundaries, right? The boundaries. And like I said, I just lost my thought that quick. Oh, got it. See, it came back around.
That's that COVID.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Got us messed up.
So a part of boundaries is knowing when to walk away.
Ooh, heavy.
And that was something that I felt so much guilt and shame for. You know, especially being someone that was married and divorced a couple times. Like, there was like, are you ever going to get it right? Or even if it's a friendship that you have to sever. Or a family ship. Because let's just be honest, family can get it too.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean?
They brought it on themselves.
Right. So how do we understand the connection between loving ourselves and knowing when it's time to walk away?
I think you have to be selfish. We're taught so much as kids not to be selfish, but we need to learn to be more about ourselves. We are so about everybody else that we will literally drain ourselves to be so for everybody, and everybody's not about us. People are definitely selfish. People are definitely about themselves. They will do anything that's about them and hurt your feelings, and it has nothing to do with you. It just has everything to do with them.
Right.
And we have to learn how to be more like that.
Right.
It doesn't make you a bad person for choosing you. At some point in time in your life, that's what you have to do. You have to say, listen, this is bringing me a lot of pain. This is not making me happy anymore. We are constantly at a crossroad. We've tried things. We've done this. We've had conversations. It's just not working out. We could just be smooth and be easy. We don't have to be enemies.
Right.
Everything is not a confrontation.
Right, and it's so awesome that you said that because, like, for example, I'm still very close friends with my first husband. Like, when I'm talking about family, I recently was in Mexico, and I stayed with his family. My mom is coming out here to get her hair done from him. And so it didn't have to, it didn't end bad.
Yeah.
And we were able to move on, but it was because we had the conversation.
Right.
And we were both honest with ourselves. And I think what it was is we were both waiting on the other person to say it first.
Don't want to be the bad guy.
Right, because of the guilt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important. So once you start to feel that guilt, like at some point you like, well, shit. Like I legit was in a situation and even now looking back, I'm thinking like, what in the hell was I doing and why was I in it so long? But like you said, the guilt, like I'm such a good person, like I'm going to feel bad if this happens or I'm going to feel bad if that happens. But at the end of the day, this person is not caring about how they're making me feel. And I'm so in tune with that right now about how things make me feel. I have to be with my third eye open because if you can't respect how you make me feel, we have to move a little different.
And you know, my grandmother Evelyn used to always say, if you tell an adult that something is making you happy or not making you happy, and they don't respond,
that is the response.
That is the response. and she always told me that. She's like, now she said it's different with kids, but she said if you tell an adult, excuse me, X, Y, and Z, and they don't like at least work to fix that, then that is the response. And sometimes we don't want to see that because we're fearful of starting over, or we're fearful of what is this person going to say about me?
Or we're just basically going off of their word and not their action.
Right.
It's the action for me.
Right.
You can talk to you blue in the face. You can tell me everything that you think that I want to hear.
Right.
But at the same time, your actions are not aligning up with your words. So what are we talking about?
Nothing.
So at this point now, I am seeing clearly how you're treating me and how you feel about me. And I have to be in a place of what? Acceptance. So I feel like that's key. It's like, pay attention to how people treat you. And people play on words. Like, they say what they mean. You trying to find another message in the message.
Right.
That's the damn message.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel it. So just to look at some of these comments we got in here, girl.
We
so
got comments?
Oh yeah, definitely. You have to live with you, coach. Love that. E. Carrie says, I get my 8 to 10 every day. Your brain will be more
sleepy
creative in a shorter amount of time if you rested. How? It's like the simplest sentence. You will be more creative in a shorter amount of time if you rested.
Yeah.
How many times do we spin our wheels over an idea and don't get that rest and just keep going and get nowhere?
Honestly, though, this is not a new thing for me with entrepreneurship. I've never took naps. Like, even in preschool, when they make you take a nap, I would literally get in trouble because I'm not sleepy. Like, I'm not a sleepy person. I would lay down when I'm tired. When I'm tired, it don't take no time. I'm going to lay down. I'm going to get under them covers, snuggle, and it's over. But I've never been a napper. But it's like you said, I really believe with this whole COVID lingering in your body for the rest of your life type of thing. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like, woo, I probably need to lay down for a little bit and take me a little nap. But it's a power nap. If I get a good, strong 30 minutes, I'm ready to go.
See, because see, for me, I have to go to bed. Like, it's like
Once I go to bed, yeah.
No, but for me, even a nap, I have to prepare like I'm going to bed. So I put my moo-moo on. Oh, and age, not COVID. Oh.
Wow.
But no, for real though, like, I have to put on my moo-moo, turn the lights down, put my Law and Order SVU in the background, have my little
Set the mood.
Yeah, even if I'm going to sleep for like an hour. So like before I got here, I was taking a nap and I was in the bed. And that's something that I never did before. But I love my rest.
Yeah.
I probably get more than 8 to 10 if I'm honest. Because I get my husband out the door in the morning, make sure he's on his way to work, and then I'm laying back down. Because as an entrepreneur, there might be times at midnight we get up and have things to do. So when my body says it's time to take a nap, it's time to take a nap.
Lay down and take a nap.
Oh yeah, I go to bed. I go to bed.
I like the preparation though.
Oh,
That's real self-care.
Yeah, I can't just where is my moo-moo? Okay, I need my moo-moo.
Where's the comfort on my skin?
Yeah. So for those of you that are just tuning in, you're catching the hottest tea right here on What's the Lgbtea on Hot 7025. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, Cameron Cromwell Consulting, LLC, and Ponita's Kitchen. And because we're in kind of that halfway mark, I want to remind you, it is Pride weekend here in Las Vegas, so we're celebrating some LGBT authors. So make sure that you go over to Amazon, get your copy of Loving Me Free by Albie Downing, get your copy of 7 Ways to Disappear, a book within a book, on Amazon by Andre Wade. And your cart is not complete until you've purchased Over the Top Living, Walking in Next Level Confidence Every Damn Day. We're here with the Love Doctor, and she is getting us all the way together. We've talked about self-love, how there's a connection between that and boundaries. We've talked about love and lust. We talk about her mission as a postpartum doula and relationship and life coach. Now let's get a little gritty with it. So, where is the connection as a relationship coach between love and sex? Okay, I think a lot of times we get some of this, it gets kind of blurry.
Yes.
Right? So, help us break that down just a little bit.
I think we're just living in a sea of blur. I really think people are just dick dizzy and coochie crazy. I don't know. No, seriously, because when you see people talk, like the conversations people are having on Facebook or, because, that's kind of your audience. And I just think to myself, like, I know these people really don't feel like this to the core. When it's just them and they're alone and they're by themselves, that's when you realize that you do need some love. Yeah, some hot coochie coming by every other once and it's, you know what I mean? It's fun, but what about when you sick?
Mm-hmm.
What about when you missing your mama? You know, like those tough times when you really need companionship.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. So you can be my companion. We can be cordial. We can be fuck buddies. We can be all these things. But are you there when I need you to be there?
Yeah.
No, they're technically not there because guess what? We so guarded. We so scared of love. So we'll use sex as this form of defense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like nah, I don't love. You know, we hear it all the time. I don't love these hoes. I just be fucking these bitches.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, but you do though. Because you've either been hurt and you don't want to experience that again. So you're using, once again, sex as a coping mechanism. People use it all the time, but don't realize that they're doing more damage to themselves than not. If people really knew what sex was and did it right, sex is a magical connection with two people. Like, you're literally, inside someone, or, it gets kind of, what'd you say, gritty.
Yeah.
It's a little messy. But I think that once people learn that if it's love that they really want, then that's what they should go for. And don't worry about what the sex is going to do. Because if you love each other that much, you can make the sex really do whatever you want it to.
So let's talk about that. Because what about for the person who says, I really love this person, and now I've got with them and the sex wasn't what it was supposed to be?
Child,
now listen,
in my e-voice.
That's a conversation that we've had.
It just comes up. Yeah.
So then what? Okay, so then at what point do we have a conversation with ourselves and our partner to say, okay, either this isn't working, or we're going to have to open this thing up?
You have to have it immediately. Don't let it fester.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let it fester, because now you start to have resentment. Now you looking all upside this person's head like, look at this whack, small dick motherfucker. Every time he think he be in here big stroking, he cool, but but at the end of the day, if I'm stroking your ego, then what am I doing? I'm damaging you more.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have that conversation pretty much immediately, especially if you love them and you see something with them. But if you don't feel like genuinely this is probably not going to work out for the long term, we can still be friends. Like you said, I could still love you. We could be BFFs, but sex, we not probably going to do it because it's not satisfying to me.
Right.
Not to hurt your feelings, because you cool.
And I also feel like, this is at least for me, both people have to be in it for it to make it that magical, explosive.
And mentally, too.
Yeah, right. And see, that's the thing. Like, if I'm not mentally in that space, like, for example, if money ain't right, that's not sexy to me. And me and my sister have this conversation all the time. Let's get this money right first.
Right.
Like, so it's a lot that shifts in my mind personally that I have to be in alignment. Like, the box has got to be checked.
Right.
And then I can allow my body to, like, relax and go into that.
Life is good.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, there's nothing sexy about those things. Or, like, if I'm feeling, like, super anxious or, going through other emotions, that's not what I need right now.
Mm-hmm.
You
trying to rub on me and these bills ain't paid? Watch out.
Right. Wait, okay, we got another comment. It says, you can definitely have sex with more than one and love all of them. And then Ikari says, I had to have that combo. I did it about 2.5 months in. So, I mean, these are
That's
obviously...
not too bad.
Yeah.
2.5 months. You figured it out.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, at that point, you probably are giving that person the benefit of the doubt. You saying, okay, well, maybe we can try this.
Let's try something else.
Right.
Maybe you turn over.
Right.
Let's try something. Let's spice this thing on up.
Right. And
because people have to realize, like, a lot of times, and I've talked to a lot of men, they don't know this is a real thing, but all sex ain't satisfying.
Right.
You have sex, but are you satisfied? Like, you probably feel like you did your best shit, but did you check to see if the person you were having sex with was genuinely satisfied?
Right. And my thing is, satisfaction cannot be judged. Excuse me, Mom, I know you're watching. Just because you came.
Right. Or did you? Or did you?
Right. That, to me, that's a human response.
Yeah.
If you go up and down on this thing long enough.
Click, clack, click, clack.
I mean, for real, right? So that is a human response. So I just feel that the main thing that I'm getting from you is just the concept of having these conversations.
Being authentic with yourself. It starts with yourself. If you can be honest with yourself and be like, you know what, this shit ain't hitting. Like, I'm not gonna be able to survive. Like, my itch is not being scratched,
right.
and it's steadily itching. So I'm gonna have, and versus me like trying to go out and get it from somewhere else. Why not be honest with who I'm laying with every day?
Exactly.
If I'm gonna lay with you like that, I should give you that amount of respect to at least talk to you first. And I think that's a whole thing for a lot of people, that they don't have respect either.
Right. And but to me, it all goes back to that sense of guilt. Like, we're taught, shame around these things.
Yes.
We're taught to be ashamed of liking, what you like, or liking more of something than the other, or, liking everything.
What's your fetish? People like,
right.
Like, girl, you 37 years old. What's your fetish?
Right.
Matter of fact, let's try to figure out how you can conquer that fetish.
Right.
But then it's like, well, I never even thought about, like you said, I didn't even think I should have a fetish. I thought it was nasty. Or I thought fetishes was for, like, people who like feet or BDSM or something like that. Like, no, what do you genuinely like to do sexually that gets you aroused, that gets you mentally into it, to get the chemistry high?
And I think, too, a lot of it comes from exposure and miseducation, because I know for me, I spent the majority of my 20s in relationships and marriages that were basically sexless, even going into my 30s. And so that just became the norm for me, no pun intended. And so for me, it was about educating myself about what I like.
Yeah.
And being honest about that. Because if you had asked me that, I really did not know the answer, because the time where I would have normally spent exploring those things, or I was shacking up. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't necessarily that I didn't want to know. I just literally did not know.
Didn't know. A man asked me, what do you want me to do? And I was like, I don't know.
Right.
And he's like, well, what do you like? I'm like, nobody's ever asked me that before. So now I'm like, now I got to dig and figure out, like, what do I like? But in reality, I think I did know what I like, but I was probably a little shy to say
tell
it.
him, yeah.
Because like you said, there is like a little shame there. So then you have to have that conversation, like, you are a grown-ass woman, and this is what you like, and this is what you require to get you where you need so you can be satisfied sexually.
Right.
You are grown. It's okay. You're not a kid anymore. And that's I hear a lot of people having to have that conversation with themselves. Because we still have that little shame, like, ooh, like, you want to cover up when you masturbate, because you don't want to be, but you at home at your own house.
That you pay the bills for.
You pay the bills.
No, and what you're saying is so true. It's like you almost be looking for the goblin to come out of the closet or something like, no. And it's sad. But what I love about our generation is that we're having these conversations, and now the younger generations are having these conversations much sooner.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to get into when those conversations should happen. I don't have children. But for me, I like seeing that people are being more open. People are being more authentic. People are removing the shame from things that have no business having shame on it. And just
it's natural.
Right, and being themselves.
Yeah. Be shameless.
Yeah,
be shameless.
Literally.
Somebody said that in my business too, because I don't like. They're like, "Why didn't you post that? Or why didn't you make an event?" I'm like, "Well, I made a post. Well, why didn't you tag me?" I'm like, "Well, I don't want to bother people tagging me." Like, be shameless in your business. Post shamelessly. And I was like, maybe I should, because people tag me all the time in their business.
Listen.
So it's like, I don't want to be that person, but at the same time, I probably need to be that person. And it's okay with that, because if I'm serious about what I'm doing, what's the problem with me giving you a little nudge?
Well, right, and it goes back to what you said at the beginning of the show about having your audience. If you are delivering the content and speaking to your audience, there was one time, this must have been in 2020. I was doing a 5-day I Am Confident challenge.
I love it.
And
run it back.
I think we're going to. But there was a point in there where my mom was like, "I don't get this."
Yeah.
And do you know, I felt so happy about that, because I said, you're not my target audience. So it made sense to me that she didn't get it. And I appreciate it going through, the process with me. But if you're really calling out your audience, they're receptive to what you're posting.
Yeah.
They're receptive to what you're offering.
Yeah, and like, you don't think that people are seeing. And so I'm genuinely surprised. Like, hey, Miss Love Doctor, I'm like, how you know that?
Like,
how do you know that?
I saw my friend post your challenge. That's how I found out about it. And I'm like, wait. Shout out to Sinette. Love you, girl.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Yeah,
she's doing a great job, too.
That's my boo. I've known her.
Sinette set it off.
I think I've been knowing her at least 12, 13 years.
Yeah, it's spreading. I love it. And it's like other people are posting it, and I go to the comments, and people are like, what is this? How can I be a part of this? Can I do it? And it's like, yeah, please. Please love yourself a little bit. Please.
Yeah.
You know?
So we're about to wind this down. I like to end the show with allowing my guests to speak to that person that really needs to hear. There's somebody out there that's listening or watching, and it's like, man, that all sounds cool, but I don't have the confidence of the Love Doctor, and I don't have, the confidence of Norman to really love myself and do the things that they're talking about. What is your message to them?
I would say that confidence has many faces, and it doesn't always look like what you think it looks like. So just because you think that I may have this sense of confidence, I'm human just like you. So I go through all the same emotions that you go through. I need all the same things that you need. So everything that I'm telling you is really coming genuinely from my heart. And it's from a place of love, and it's a place of healing, and it's a place of restoration, because we have to restore and repair ourselves in order for us to be rejuvenated. So there's a whole lot of things that goes into that. So that person who is probably completely broken, that's completely just fucked up on the inside, like emotionally drained, I'm just saying, like, love yourself a little bit more. Find that little sense of self-care to build yourself back up, because you can't do anything if your cup is completely empty. And that's from my heart. So take care of yourself, love yourself, and try to be a better person every single day. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't take anything for you to smile at someone or to hug someone. You could be that one person to save that person's life.
Right.
You never know what people are going through.
Right.
Like, literally, I be watching our shows, and I had a funeral on Monday, and then I was on the show on Wednesday, and then somebody died on Friday. Like, I'm looking at the show like, you would think I got it all together. I'm fucked up. But at the end of the day, like, I still have to do the work, because I have to still heal myself. I can't be broken and still be trying to help other people. So definitely, I'm putting myself in extensive care, repair. You know what I'm saying? So
I love that. So I want all of y'all to take, if you can do so safely, if you're driving, hit the replay. I want you to go over to Instagram, and I want you to connect with the Miss Love Doctor. It's MIZZ, Ms. Love Doctor on Instagram, okay? Go and show her some love. If you're friends with her on Facebook, make sure you're checking out her challenge. Next week, we have a little bit of a surprise, but on the 22nd, I can't wait to tell y'all who's going to be on the show. It is a TikTok celebrity that really became super well known in all of the communities, but especially within the LGBTQ plus community back in 2020, and since then has launched several platforms. And so he's just waiting on one confirmation so that I can announce it. So make sure that you check us out here every Saturday here, What's the LGBT on Hot 7025, and also check out Let's Talk Love every Wednesday at
4 p.m.
Pacific Standard Time.
Here.
All right, y'all. So you already know who it is. It's your gay best friend, your good Judy, and all of the things. It's everything. It's Norman J. Liverpool. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.